Welcome to Unleash the Awesome with Dave Gambrill. All of us have unique skills, talents, and abilities that aren't being used to their full potential. Our mission is to share the people, tools, apps, and other resources that will help you unleash your awesome on the world.
Yo, what's up? It's Dave. Welcome to another episode of Unleash the Awesome. Today, let's talk about try it on. Try it on. So many of you know that I help people unleash their awesome through digital marketing, building their email list, getting their courses and membership groups and stuff like that online. If you haven't already checked out my Facebook group, Digital Marketing Mentorship with Dave Gambrill, you probably should, because I help people in there every day. I usually do a Facebook Live every day in there too, teaching and sharing my screen and all that jazz. But what I help people in there do is get away from the analysis paralysis and the paradox of choice, if you will, because there's over 8,000 different things. This is not a made up number. I'll put a link in the show notes for you for both my Facebook group, but also this reference point. There are over 8,000 different things you could be using in your marketing technology stack. Yeah, 8,000. And there's a report called the Martech 5,000. It's still called the Martech 5,000, even though there's over 8,000 things there. And so a lot of people are like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And they go through all this process of looking at all of these tools and apps and everything else that could be helping them with their business. And ideally, and we've talked about this in other episodes, and I cover this a lot, right? The last thing you want to pick is the tool set that you're going to be using. There's some other things that come before that. We'll get into that later. But if you're in the part of the process where you're selecting the tools, then I can help you in many of those categories get down to 2 or 3 that you might want to take a look at. But what often happens is people will then look at 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 10, and they'll delay making a decision. They'll delay taking action because they want to go do some research on the latest one or the next one or whatever. And my advice to a lot of people in this situation is get it down to 1 or 2 things that might help you in that category, right? Whether it's course hosting or building your email list or, email service provider or building out a sales funnel or a shopping cart or whatever, get it down to a couple and then try it on. Yeah, try it on. It's very much like if you're going to go buy a pair of running shoes, right? If you were to tell me, hey, Dave, I need some shoes, I'd ask you some questions. I'd say, well, what are the shoes for? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to wear them to a wedding? Are you trying to wear them to work? What kind of work do you do? Are you trying to wear them mountain climbing or hiking or running? And if you're running, what kind of running? Are you doing the Couch to 5K program? Are you an ultra marathon runner and you need something else, right? So what I help people do is I ask a lot of questions that are similar to that in the digital marketing space. And I get it down to, okay, you need some running shoes. You're looking for running shoes. Okay, great. And then I might ask some questions about, are you a heel striker? Do you pronate, super pronate, whatever? And then I'll say, okay, you might want to go look at New Balance or Saucony or Nike or whatever. And there's a couple of, and I'm not a sneaker professional, right? I'm just giving you examples. But you might want to go look at New Balance or Saucony. And then what people have to do is try it on. They don't know how that's going to fit their feet, right? And if you remember when you were a little kid, you probably tried on shoes in the store and then ran around the store and said, yeah, these make me feel faster, right? These make me run faster. But you got to check the fit. You got to try it on. And in the digital marketing space, it's no different. A lot of the tools, I'll help you get down to a handful of things, but then ultimately it comes down to personal choice, user interface, things like that. Not even price usually. It's just you like this over that. And I'll give you an example. So for calendar scheduling apps, I like one called Calendly, okay? Calendly. I'll put a link to it in the comments. But they don't even have an affiliate program, right? And people are like, oh, I thought you were an affiliate guy. Don't you always promote affiliate stuff? I go, no, I promote the thing that is best in class, the thing that helps me and has helped many of my clients, many of my customers, many of my people in my Facebook group. These are the ones that people tend to like the best. There's Calendly, but then there's also Schedule Once and Acuity and Bookify and a whole bunch of other ones. So generally what I'll say to people is go get a trial to Calendly, go get a trial to Schedule Once or Acuity or whatever else we decide kind of makes the most sense for you, and do the trials side by side and try to do the same things in each program. Okay, I want to schedule a recurring event that's going to happen second Thursday of every month, and I want it to automatically have a Zoom interface. So a Zoom meeting is automatically scheduled, and I want that to go out to the people that schedule that time slot with me. Or I want them to be able to pay for that before they can select it, right? So try it in the different things. Try it on. To me, it's a lot easier to do kind of what I just explained in Calendly than some of the other ones. But maybe you have an edge case, a user case that's a little different, and maybe one of the other platforms is better for you. But the only way you'll know is if you try it on. You have to try it. You have to try it out, just like the shoes. Right? I could recommend the best shoes in the world, but maybe you have a wide foot, and maybe that company doesn't either make a wide size, or they just don't, their general size doesn't come wide. So maybe it's not going to fit you and it's not going to work. And you're going to come back to me and say, Dave, that wasn't a very good recommendation because I have a wide foot and that didn't fit. And you told me that's what I should get. And I often will remind people that I said, go pick one or two and then try them on. Try them on. I didn't say pick 10. I didn't say pick 100. Pick one or two and try them on. So if you're trying to pick through different technology stuff that's out there, get it down to one or two, go through the trials. Many of these programs have 7-day, 14-day, sometimes 28, 30-day trials. Do them side by side and try to do the same thing on each platform and then see whether or not you like it. And maybe you can make a decision right then. But if they have a trial, continue to try for a couple days. Like you might decide that you come up with some other use cases or ways you want to try to use it. And as you're going, maybe your front runner can't do some of the things as easily as you want it to, and maybe the other one does it a little better. And so then you have to make the decision, wow, I like the user interface of this one, but it doesn't quite do what I want it to do. But this other one over here, I'm going to have to learn the user interface, or I'm not a big fan of it, but it does all of the stuff I want it to do. It has all of the functionality that I'm looking for. So can I get over the user interface piece and go do this, right? From my perspective, I would say, yeah. If you find something that does what you want it to do and you just don't kind of like the look or feel of it, then get over that and figure out how to use it. Because it's one thing to have something that you like, but it's another thing to have something that you like and works. And you only know if you try it on. So a lot of people say, yeah, I really like this thing. And I go, okay, well, did you try it? Did you put it through its paces? No, I just like how it looks or whatever. I'm like, try it. Please try it. Please try it on. Please do the trial. Please run some things through it, right? Because there are probably, I'd say, out of the, I'm not even going to throw out a number for all the tech stuff that I use, but maybe percentage-wise, there's probably 20 to 25% of the stuff that I use that I'm not a big fan of the user interface. That there's probably other things that are easier to use, or the flow is a little easier, or just how I conceptualize things, it matches up. But because those things do exactly what I need it to do, then, okay, I got over the user interface piece. I figured it out. Like, okay, fine. It's not pretty and gorgeous and super sleek. And yeah, maybe I have to do one extra click, but it does exactly what I'm looking for it to do. And so that's what I go with. I'll give you another technology example. If you're looking for things to help you with your projects, right? Project management, maybe communication on those projects with some people. I'm a huge fan of Trello. I use it all the time. I'll put a link in the comments for that too. And I might even have a link to a demo on YouTube. If I do, I'll put that in the show notes for you. Sorry, the show notes, not the comments. I'll put it in the show notes for you. But I like Trello. I just like the user interface. I like how it's laid out. And it also allows me to do the things I'm looking to do. But there are other things out there like ClickUp and Notion and Workflowy, which Workflowy has a total bare bones user interface. But if you like that, and you can start to figure out, maybe it'll do the things that you would like it to do. But there's so many things out there, Asana and Airtable and whatever. So it just really depends on how you like things. Now, I grew up, my dad had this physical binder thing that he had where he put these little cards in it. And he basically would set up what's now known as a Kanban board. I don't know if that's what he referred to it as, but he would have 3 columns to do, doing, and done, and maybe some other column. But basically, he just moved these physical cards, like they were like little Post-it note size cards. And he would write whatever he was trying to do, and he'd put it in the to-do or the doing or the done column. And that's how he kind of managed his projects, both at work and at home. And so, I was familiar with that. He showed us that when we were little kids, but of course, I didn't really care, take much interest in it at the time, because that's what you do when you're a kid. But then when I saw Trello, I saw the layout of it, and I'm like, wow, this is a very similar thing. You could do similar things with it. And that's not the only thing you could do with it, but I'm familiar with that layout, and this thing can do exactly what I'm looking to do with that layout. I could set it up that way. And so that's what I like, because I tried it, right? And I still look at some of these other things that are out there. I just was looking at Workflowy again the other day. I looked at Notion again the other day, mostly because part of my role is to help people understand these tools and what they can do, and they evolve over time. But find one that you like, try it on, and if you like it, stick with it, right? And there's no reason to jump to other things, but occasionally I will just look at things to see if they've become best in class, or maybe they now address a situation that the current thing I'm using doesn't. And so sometimes there is a reason for me to switch, although there is a huge task switching cost there and an opportunity cost and some other things to making that switch. And so I don't do that lightly. But take a look at those things. Try it on. See what's out there, right? And if they work for you, then just go with it. Stop asking a lot of questions about it. Like, if you feel like it fits, then try it on. That is the only way you will know. One last thing before we close out this episode. Something else I think you'll learn as you're going through the selection process, because I've seen this now literally thousands of times with people I consult with and coach and whatever. A lot of times, if you're brand new to a category of tool, okay, let's say the course builder, right? You know that I love Kajabi for courses. And I'll put a link for that where you can get a free trial and a whole bunch of bonuses for me. I'll put that in the show notes, so you might want to check that out. But you know I like Kajabi. And so I will be building stuff on Kajabi. It's working out for me. It's doing whatever I want it to do. And then there are other things out there that are available, right? And so what happens to a lot of people is I will refer them to something that they're new to. They're new to the category. They're new to the tools. They're new to what they're trying to do. And they'll try it and they might say, I don't like it. And it's not that they don't like it. It's that there's work involved now and they're a little frustrated and they're like, I don't really like this. This doesn't work for me. When a lot of times what I'm really hearing is I'm not working it, or I'm not willing to put in the effort to learn it. I don't want to learn something new, which ultimately you're going to have to learn something new. But here's what happens a lot. I'll recommend a platform to somebody and they'll go try it. And then they'll say, I didn't like it. And I'll recommend another one. And because they went through a little bit of effort to learn this first one and learn the new methodology and the strategy and all this other stuff, they'll go try another one and they'll say, I like this one a lot better. It's so much easier. And I'm like, really? Is it? Because I've referred like thousands of people to both of the ones you tried out, and like 90% of the people told me the first one is easier. Like, why do you find this one to be easier? And what I've discovered over time and interviewing a lot of these people and having conversations is there's some information that you learn when you try the first one that you can then take to the second one, right? So there's not as much frustration because there's some transfer of knowledge between the first one and the second one. So you go to the second one and you go, wow, I just like this one better. It's easier, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So you won't really know these things until you try them on. And if you try two of them side by side, I think you'll get a better look and you'll be able to get past that bias that I just shared, right? Maybe I'll come up with a name for it, like first try bias or something. Maybe there's something out there already that covers this, but the first thing you try, sometimes you just get frustrated, especially if it's new. And then the second thing looks so much better. I would ask you, if you find yourself in that situation, to just take one step back and ask yourself, is that really true? Do you find the second thing easier and better? And is it suiting your needs? Or is it just that that's the second thing you've tried and you've already learned some stuff from the other one and then you're embracing this one? Because I see it happen a lot. And I'll challenge people that I'm coaching and I'll go through what I just went through with you. I'll say, let's think about this for a second. Let's revisit that. Is that really the case? If it is, fine. Sometimes it is. But I think a lot of times it's just that you have that new knowledge and then you take the knowledge transfer to the second thing and it just seems so much easier and better, which on some level I've thought to myself, maybe I should recommend the second best thing to people in a category and have them go try it. And then they'll say, I don't like it. And then I'll go, okay, and recommend the best thing to them for the next choice. And they go, wow, this is so great. Because then I know they'll stick with it, right? Maybe I'll do a trial on that someday and report back. But that's hard for me to do from an ethical standpoint because I really want people to go with what I think is the best in category or the best one or two things in a category and try it and then make their own decision, right? Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. A lot of people who are doing the research and they won't make a choice and they won't do the trials, they want someone else to make the decision for them. So then when it doesn't work, they can blame somebody else, right? So I will almost never tell somebody, you should use this thing, go do it, go buy it, go invest in it. I will say, okay, based on what you told me, here are 2, maybe 3 that you should check out, go try them and pick one. And people will get stuck there because then they know they can't blame me if they made a choice, right? So to recap, when you find yourself in this situation, especially with these online tools, try it on, go through the trial. I think when you do that and you start learning how these things work, you can better pick the one that works for you, which in turn will help you unleash your awesome on the world. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Unleash the Awesome. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And please share us on your favorite social media platforms using #UnleashAwesome.